Good evening and welcome to Crawley Borough Council's Cabinet of the 24th of September 2025. I'm Councillor Michael Jones, Leader of the Council and Chair of the Cabinet. There are no scheduled fire drills tonight, so in the event of the fire alarm sounding, please leave the building via the main spiral staircase and through the main reception doors. Once outside, please turn left and make your way to the fire assembly point located beyond the multi-storey car park on Exchange Road. If you're unable to use the stairs, please wait in the council chamber and you'll be guided by a to the evacuation lift. This meeting is being live streamed via the council's YouTube channel. Please note that there is a no comments function available as part of this webcasting. The council is a data controller and will retain the data collected during this webcast. This will be done so in accordance with the council's published data retention policy. Any members of the public seated in the public gallery should be aware that by entering the chamber, they are consenting to their image being captured by the automated camera system. Recordings will be used for webcasting and or training purposes. Councillors are reminded to take note of what is being displayed on the screens in the room, as this shows what is being recorded and webcast. Cameras are currently set to capture you in seated positions, so please remain seated when speaking. You can request to speak as usual in committees by raising your hand. To speak by pressing the button with a face on it, and the microphone will go green when you are live. We will now commence with apologies for absence. Have we received any apologies for absence?
No, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does any member have any disclosures of interest? Don't believe so, no. Now we come to the minutes of the meeting held on the 3rd of September. Does the Cabinet agree that the minutes are an accurate record of the meetings? Thank you. Public question time. We now have 15 minutes for public question time. Are there any members of the public wishing to ask a question? No? No. In that case, we move on to item 5, matters referred to the Cabinet and any report from the Chair of the Overview Scrutiny Commission. Please can I ask the Monitoring Officer to confirm if we've received any notifications or referrals?
No, none, Chair.
Thank you. We will now move to item 6 and consider local government reorganisation proposal for West Sussex report. This is set out in the report CEX 72 of the Chief Executive, along with the information contained within the supplementary agenda. I will now introduce the report and the views expressed at the full council meeting that happened earlier this evening. I really feel that we've just sat through it. We've had a good debate. I summed up at the end of the debate. I don't feel any particular need to comment further at this point. So, Ian, are there any further points you wish to add as Chief Executive?
No, we were all here for the debate. I think that's been there for a public record, probably just to record the vote that was happening because there was a recommendation from the council to the Cabinet. Chris, would you just be able to kind of, for the record?
So just for record's sake, there were two options put forward to count through for council to vote on. One was option A, a single unitary for West Sussex, and the second option was option B, which is for Crawley, Horsham, and Mid Sussex. The vote was 24 for option B, 10 for option A. So B2, apologies, B2 Crawley, Horsham, Mid Sussex was 24. Option A, a single unitary for West Sussex, got 10. So the full council recommendation to Cabinet is option B2.
Thank you. Thank you to Chris Pedlow. In that case, I will now invite Councillor Crowe as the Leader of the Opposition if he wishes to speak on the report.
Good evening and thank you, Chairman. I agree that we've had a good debate as such, and I welcome the fact that there has been an opportunity for full council to discuss it, as opposed to just the decision being taken at Cabinet, and that approach has been consistent across the entire county. I'll be consistent with where I was. I think last time this came around, was it in May, and you were enthusiastically going for the Reigate option. And I said then, and while I disagree, I do think Cabinet should enact the will of the full council. So therefore, I will say the same again, that despite me still firmly believing that the council has taken the wrong decision, it should still be endorsed and therefore formally put forward by the Cabinet, despite my opposition. There were some couple of things just in practice, as you're pointing out from the debate that we just had. The term consultation was used quite a lot, and there has not been a consultation. There will be a consultation further down the line. What has happened, and it's been explicitly said, and it can be confirmed by officers if required, has been an engagement exercise. That is the terminology that has been used, and it was very sort of high level. It has not been a full, proper consultation, so that record needs to be corrected. There was a lot of downplaying about the financial implications of what's going to happen, and let's be quite clear, even the single unitary is not going to solve the problems that we have in local government, and whatever option we do have forced upon us by the government, I think all of us, both parties, all parties in West Sussex, and indeed all councils and officers, we need to work to make the best of those arrangements, because it is going to be tough. It's going to be tough during the transition. It's going to be tough in those early years when we or say we or whoever is elected to those councils when they start. The challenges are going to be huge. We should make no mistake about that whatsoever. And I will just repeat the payback period time, that it will be 2035 before the upfront costs are started to be recouped, or the year 34, 35, in the two unitary option. And I think something else has to give, quite honestly, because I don't think we're going to have that long. I still think we've got huge problems with the single unitary financially, but those problems are going to be becoming very much more apparent and locally if the government do pick the two unitary option. My best guess, and it is only an educated guess, is that I think the government will probably pick the single county unitary, because they want, if you look at the criteria, I forget which numbers they are now, I think it's might be 4 and 5, about sustainable, services being on a sustainable footing, and also being able to withstand financial shocks. It is quite clear that a single unitary would be much better suited to withstand financial shocks. And believe me, those financial shocks are coming soon. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Crowe. I'll now open the debate for other Cabinet members and respond on any points raised at the end. Councillor Sue Mullins.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't want to go over all the ground that we've already just done in the full council. We've had a very good debate and everybody's expressed their opinion. I noticed Councillor Crowe wants to raise the same things he's already raised in the full council, so I don't intend to do that. But I would just make the comment that those people who voted for option A, a full unitary that just encompasses the whole of West Sussex, the only thing that seemed to be uppermost in their mind was money. That was all I heard. I did not hear about what residents need or the residents' rights or what the resident would be best for our residents. And it worries me greatly that the only thing that seems to be driving on that side of the chamber was constantly money, money, money. It's not about money. This is a huge decision, incredibly important for all the residents of this town. And what is best for our residents is what should be paramount, not how much does it cost or how much does it save. Any of the options will save money. It just depends on how much money. It's not important enough to override what is best for our residents.
Thank you, Councillor Mullins. Councillor Hilton, I saw your hand up next.
You did. Thank you for giving me opportunity to speak. I won't try and repeat what I said earlier, but I will comment in terms of what Councillor Crowe said in terms of finance. He's correct. There are some real big challenges ahead, but I think we should also recognise that those big challenges would be going ahead regardless of local government reorganisation. obviously in terms of temporary accommodation for boroughs and districts, adult and social care, and obviously the special need override, overdrive as well, but the special need override, which will come into play next year. Whether the local government organisation will be the panacea to all those challenges, I don't know. I like to think for some of our kind of poor areas, in terms of lots of been talked about fairer funding, like towns like Crawley will get some of that extra funding in some of our pockets of deprivation. So in that kind of context, the 30 million savings, which I think Councillor Lanning said earlier, is probably a drop in the ocean to some of the challenges we face. And you heard it here first, the Cabinet Member for Libraries wants to close Broadfield Library.
Well,
That was not an accurate
I might accept
reflection.
a point of personal clarification, Councillor Crowe,
Yeah,
because it wouldn't
no.
be a point of order, would it?
No. What I said was that there could be risks to such services, such as our libraries, if the savings challenges are greater, which they're going to be under a 2 unitary. I never said that I wanted to close any libraries. That's a deliberate misrepresentation of what I said.
Well, thank you, Councillor Crowe. I suppose the question would be asked in a new unitary, were you the Cabinet Member for that service? Are you saying you'd be closing it? But perhaps that's for something we can discuss another day. Councillor Chris Mullins.
As I said in the main meeting, I regret that we're in this situation altogether. But we are in a situation where we're looking for the best option for the residents. And I echo what Sue's saying. This is about the residents, about their involvement in their running of their local government and their democracy. And that's best served by being as close to those residents as possible. I still remain very concerned about what is going to happen to our facilities in Crawley, and I would be more concerned if we went into a big, massive unitary run by the county council, which is effectively what it would mean, because I don't think they've ever had a real feeling for Crawley and what we do here, and that's always been lacking. Local councils like Horsham and Mid Sussex do have some feeling and understanding of Crawley because they're close, and a lot of those people travel into Crawley to use our facilities, whether it be the park, the Horth or K2, which is very, very popular. And a lot of our visitors do come from outside of the town. So I think we've got some chance of protecting those facilities in a smaller, closer-knit unitary based on those three areas. And that's why I now will support, in all circumstances, B2, and hope that we can convince this government to see it our way. Fortunately, A is far too big for the government's figures, and I think that they'll be rejected on the size of it as not achieving the objectives of the new unitary building that they're doing. So I think we've got a good chance. I think we've just got to put strong arguments together now and get behind B2 and fight to get it to be our system.
Thank you, Councillor Mullins. Councillor Yasmin Khan.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's really upsetting what is happening. All of us, I think we are worried, we are upset with what's going on. I think none of us really wanted this, but I think deep down and at the end of the day, we need to think about our residents, how we can help them, and we want the best for our residents. I became a councillor to help the people of Crawley, and I think that is what my aim is, to help the people of Crawley and to be there for them and do the best for what we can do for our people. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Khan. Councillor Ian Irvine.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I agree with Councillor Khan. It's all very unsettling. my preference probably would be to keep things as they are, but I realise that's not going to happen. And now the council have quite clearly indicated which option they would like to support, and I don't think we have any other choice but to support their option. Having said that, Chair, I do hope that the government will announce their final decision, because it is the government's decision, not ours. They'll announce their final decision sooner rather than later. And I just wonder, Chair, I've probably missed it in the papers, but do we have any indication of when that decision might be taken?
Ian, would you like to address that?
So the chosen option from the government, as we understand it, would be made within what's called a decision to implement, and to the best of our knowledge we are looking probably at March, give or take, of next year before that comes in, based upon what we've been given. We are not in charge of that time frame, so to some degree we will find out when we find out, but that's the kind of time frame that we're expecting.
I'll let you back in, Councillor Hilton.
Now we've made a decision for B2, which I wholeheartedly support. On what criteria do we know the government's making those decisions? Is that transparent? Is there particular criteria? Is the council will they take notice of the engagement we've already had, for instance?
Ian, would you like to address that as well?
So again, the process as we understand it, the preferred or the proposals that are received by government will be filtered. So there'll be tests about whether they meet the criteria, and then also that they're compliant with the legislation. Once through that filtering, there will be the consultation that Councillor Crowe has referred to, and we've seen that in Surrey. And that will go. We expect that in the next 3 months. Once that has come in, it really becomes a ministerial decision at that point. I mean, the one thing that was in the paper that didn't get reflected in the debate is the government has stated that no one criteria will be should be seen as have a greater weighting than over the others. But nonetheless, they're going to have to make a decision based on something. So whilst that was true in terms of how we were asked to score and treat the criteria, quite where the government will end up on it, we're not sure.
Thanks. Did you want to come back on that? No, thank you, Nick. I'm looking over. I can't see any other cabinet members looking to speak, so I'll finish, address some of the points. It has been it's felt like a long process, with regular meetings with the other leaders of West Sussex councils and the chief executives. I would like to say that I think that, given all the different pressures and competing views from time to time, that we've all generally collaborated in a positive and constructive way. There are other areas where I'm not sure. I've been told that all the councils are in the same room at the end of the process in comparison. So I think the fact that we've all worked together regardless of party and local interests is a positive thing. But just to address a few things, I mean, the officers and the consultant that we brought in, Mike Deering and his colleagues, have developed what I think is a strong business case. We may not necessarily like the government's criteria, but I feel that what's been put together at least addresses very adequately what the government's asked for. And to the officers and to Mr Deering, I do express my own personal thanks, and I'm sure the thanks of all the councillors has been referred to earlier on, but this has been a process that has happened at pace, and it what it's left to be desired. I admire what has been produced, as I did with the Reigate and Banstead report in the time that's been available. I would repeat that the two unitaries were very evenly balanced. B1 would have been perfectly viable, representing the different areas. It should that have been chosen. But what I would say in just covering a couple of the things that Councillor Crowe said is, in terms of engagement, I felt there was a little bit of hair splitting here. I mean, to all intents and purposes, the survey that went out was what members of the public would understand as a consultation. We've just not been allowed to call it that because only the government can apparently issue consultations on this. But we asked members of the public what they thought. Probably not in quite the level of detail as the government will subsequently go out and do, because that business case was developing week by week, and even a few weeks ago wouldn't have been in its finished form. So as far as the financial argument is concerned, it's obviously significant, and I don't want anyone to suggest that we're disregarding the finances. Believe me, what we've been through, that would be very unfair to do. The simple answer is, for reasons that I outlined in the debate, I don't agree with Councillor Crowe's conclusions. And I still think there's an instinctual desire to back the county because that's what certain senior Conservative representatives in Crawley have become very used to. But I don't think if this was looked at in a very clear-eyed way, that we would, if we had a blank sheet of paper, that's what we'd be setting up now. And I say that in all good faith. I would also say that all boroughs and districts in West Sussex, as of tonight, are united in endorsing B2 and the two unitaries, and the county council stands alone in its choice, as it so often does. So when we make a decision now, Cabinet, a letter will go by the end of this week to the government confirming the council's preference that is expressed through us. I shall also be sharing some of my views, which I expressed tonight to the Minister in doing that. And again, I will finish on a note of sadness, because despite some suggestions tonight to the contrary, many Crawley residents fondly remember what Crawley Borough Council has done for them and achieved for them over the years. And it has been an achievement. This council created a home and a beautiful place to live with decent facilities. And whatever happens with this reorganisation, we will leave a proud legacy built on the vision of the new town pioneers, many of whom we knew. And for those that are really old, we still know. We move forward, but we'll always remember and value the good things that have been achieved, and they can never be disregarded. So thank you, Cabinet. I therefore move that the Cabinet approves the recommendation from full council that option B2, 2 unitaries for West Sussex, Crawley, Horsham and Mid Sussex, be our preferred option for submission in respect of local government reorganisation proposal for West Sussex. Councillor Nawaz, I believe you're seconding these recommendations.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Then, Cabinet, is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Supplemental agenda. There is no supplementary agenda, so with the business of the Cabinet of the 24th of September concluded, the meeting is now closed at 21:42. Can I wish everyone a very good evening, and to everyone at home, a peaceful and pleasant one. Thank you and good night.